So there's some rubbish on TV these days. I was meant to make a video last week, and I did, and it was half finished. I did it outside, but then it started to rain while I was filming it, and that was a bit annoying. So I was meant to redo it, but I just didn't get around to doing it. So here I am a week later. Heck, even more than a week later. I really have to take time out to do this. Last week was about the so-called superpowers. I wanted to talk a little bit about that just briefly, among some other things. So people said that you get like different superpowers or whatnot when you start doing Nofap, and a lot of people, I've seen people, they get up to like 30 days, or they're like, oh, I did Nofap for 30 days and I didn't see any benefits, so I stopped doing it. And I guess for me personally, when I see people saying that kind of thing, it doesn't really make a lot of, not very articulate. It doesn't really make a lot of sense what they're saying, or the reason that they try and do it in order to receive some, in order to receive some kind of benefit, or or it might be a way for them to get girls, so they do it for that purpose. And that's, for me, I don't really do it for that reason. I don't do it as a means to get some kind of benefit necessarily. Because I think when it comes to these apparent superpowers, I think a lot of it's determined by each of our personalities as well, because everyone's different. So things may be more applicable to one person than another. For example, about a week ago, when I filmed my original video, I went to a show, like a theatre performance, and I went to watch a show, and basically there was a girl who was sitting a couple of seats next to me, and she hadn't come with anyone. She had come by herself. So when she sat down, I didn't talk to her, but I was under the impression that she was there to see the show because her friends were in the show, or something like that. So in the intermission of the show, and even after the show, I was just talking to her, and I didn't know who she was. I just thought, she didn't necessarily know anyone in the crowd or in the audience. She had someone that she can talk to about the show after the show or during the show. So I thought it would be nice just to go up and have a talk to her and see how she was going and things like that. And I didn't have any issue with it. She was a nice girl to talk to, and I ended up figuring out that she was actually we have mutual friends, so I did end up knowing her in certain respects. But the point is, I went up and I talked to a girl that was quite attractive, even though I didn't actually know who she was. I just went up and talked to her, and taking that into account, that by that point I was under a week. I was less than a week from my last relapse when I did that. So I guess you could say that I hadn't really made a lot of progress since my last relapse, like in terms of day-wise, but yet, despite that, I still had no problem just talking to a girl. I don't know. As I said, it's probably a personality thing. It's probably a lot of it's got to do with your circumstances and a lot of other things you need to factor in as well. So because I know a lot of guys that do Nofap are doing it because they struggle going up and talking to people or talking to girls. Me personally, you could say that I'm an introvert. Yeah, I'm an introvert, so I don't actually like being in crowds, and as an introvert, going up and talking to people isn't the norm, I suppose you could say. So it's not something that I do often, but of course I have my moments. And I suppose because I'm introverted, I don't go out of my way a lot to go up and just talk to people off the cuff. I mean, I can do it, but it's not really part of my personality. So it's not like doing Nofap for 30 days, and then after I reach a 30-day milestone, I'm therefore no longer introverted. And that I can therefore go up and just talk to whoever comes across my path, and that people are going to be automatically drawn to me. It doesn't really work like that. A lot of it's got to do with other factors as well, if that makes sense. So I hope that kind of puts things into perspective if you've been doing Nofap and you've seen some benefits. Some people talk about certain benefits that you haven't attained, or there may be benefits that you have that other people don't have. Just keep in mind a lot of it's got to do with a ton of other circumstances, like your personality, like, the other circumstances and situations in your life can also alter that. So I wanted to just quickly, briefly touch on that. So I suppose right now, I'm just under a fortnight in from previous relapse. Again, not counting days, but I do want to share quickly as well that the last couple of weeks have actually been pretty good. I have had very, very, very few temptations come upon me. And, prior to that, I used to think that the first couple of weeks were actually the hardest. But these couple of weeks have been alright. Surprisingly. I don't think I've ever had, had it like this, I suppose. However, tonight, and this is one of the reasons that's kind of motivated me to do this video, or redo this video. Tonight I had a bit of a curveball, which can happen, as you can sort of get thoughts and temptations, and they can sort of just come out of nowhere sometimes. Like subconsciously, we absorb a lot of information that we don't realise we're absorbing. That's how advertisement works. But yeah, I had a curveball tonight, and it wasn't like a build up. I suppose the purpose of the curveball was it was a surprise. But yeah, a lot of the times when it's an urge or something, or a temptation or whatever, it kind of builds up. Most circumstances, I suppose, it's a build up. Sorry, I need to go to bed and sleep soon. Yeah, so this was a curveball that I had tonight. Like out of nowhere, I just had these thoughts or whatever to go down the wrong path and do the wrong thing, and and to be honest with you, I actually started to turn to that direction, and I was sort of drawn to it, and I began to sort of focus my attention towards it, and I began to gravitate down there. But I stopped myself. You get to that threshold where you cross the line into that abyss that swallows you up, and you get to that threshold. But I could see the threshold coming, and I was just like, not today, not today. Not today you're going to do it. Not today you're going to relapse. Not today you're going to go any further with it. I should have stopped before I started, of course, but the main point is I summoned my self-control before things got a little bit too bad. So, relapse or not? I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I didn't actually, look at anything necessarily, or or whatever. But I suppose the intention was there. Would you call it a relapse? In certain respects you could. In certain respects you wouldn't. It doesn't really matter. And again, it's not going to affect day count or whatever.